All right, we are officially live. Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have just jumped in for the very first time and you're wondering what on earth is going on, well, you have come to the very right place. It's Nerd Night episode 55. And we have a very special guest of honor today. But before we dive right into that, let's go through and sort of talk about what we're going to be talking about today. Yes, yes, very, very clever way to say it. Talk about what we're going to be talking about today. If you've just jumped on board, welcome,
Um,
welcome, welcome. And hopefully, this is not your first time jumping in today. If it is your first time, we are going to go through some very basic housekeeping. So, one of the key things about Nerd Night is that it's definitely not a captive audience stream. So, we absolutely want everyone to be part of the show. So, whoever you are, wherever you are, make sure you're contributing. The comment section is definitely your friend. So, make sure you're commenting. Make sure you're telling us you're part of the fun and you are having a great time just like we are, and I know that I'm definitely going to be having a good time myself. So, please don't be left behind. So, with all of that, let's quickly go through some quick housekeeping. So, the agenda for today is that we're going to essentially go through four key segments. So, the first segment is trash talk. So, we're basically just going to just go through some quick introduction and go through some trash talk, talking about things that make no sense. And today, the hot take is about AI. I think Jamie might have some pretty interesting ideas about Jamie about AI. Jamie, I didn't realize your name was AI as well. Seriously. But I know you might have some pretty interesting thoughts about this. And we're going to go from there to an insight from an X. So this is a new segment that we've just released, and we're going to be going through some very basic, very quick, I guess, interview of Jamie, so you guys can get to know him a little bit more, and hopefully get some tips and tricks about how to essentially, break into the cybersecurity space and get ahead as well. So, can someone please confirm that we are officially live on YouTube as well? Everyone can hear me. I'm not sure if anyone is watching out there. Is anybody out there? But hopefully someone is watching. Hopefully we are live. Hopefully this is working. I think it is. I think it is working seriously. And yet again, I can't speak English this week. Well, if you were here last week and you were part of the fun that we had, then you definitely obviously know what it is that you are installed for today. If it is your first time, welcome to Nerd Night, the only show on the internet where we dive deep into the cybersecurity space, especially with a focus on purple teaming. A lot of people say it's red teaming, others say it's blue teaming, and we say hold my beer. It's purple teaming, right? It's both words, and the best way we describe this is attack informed defense. So if it's your first time jumping in, get ready to know how attackers work and how to defend against them as well. So yeah, without any further ado, I'll probably go through and get us to go through some quick introductions. Hey, Randy, nice to see ya. Yes, we do read the comment section. So, guys, keep smashing the comment section. And of course, obviously, do not forget to like and do not forget to subscribe. We want to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So, I don't know. I'm gonna have to send everyone a free bucket of steak for for whenever you subscribe, you get a free steak. Nah, I'm just joking. So I guess a quick place to sort of get that introduction going before we talk about our guest of honor today is my name is Sammy Chokes and I'm the CEO and founder of CyLynk. At CyLynk, our mission is quite simple. We want to train 10 million people by the year 2050, especially with a focus on underserved communities and untapped regions globally. And we want to impact people with the critical job-ready cybersecurity skills that is required to defend organizations globally from the evolving and emerging cyber threat landscape. Well, if you're wondering, I have rehearsed that pitch a few times. But yes, I am the chief hacker and defender here. Nathan, am I coming for the title or what?
Depends which title you're coming for.
Well, the chief hacker and defender. I don't know, but look, if you know me, you know that we like to have fun. We like to have fun learning and growing. Oh, Nathan, I've got your face covered again, just like normal. So I might need to move that up a little bit.
Yeah,
Just to make sure that people can see your face. There you go. Look at that cute face.
Oh boy, I look so cuddly.
Cuddly. Seriously, do you even use that to describe someone's face? But yeah, look, we are excited for what we have installed over the next few weeks, few months. We are going to be releasing cybersecurity technical hands-on, job-ready focused training on our platform CyLynk.com. If you haven't checked CyLynk.com, please go ahead and check it out. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of a lot of good reasons to sign up and start learning. And one of the biggest news, I guess, those who are part of our job-ready tracks, they already know this. They learned about this early this week. One of the biggest news, I think we should probably have a drum roll or something. Where is the drum roll? Can someone get me a drum roll or something?
Hey, next time I'll bring my soundboard.
Well, I'll quickly.
Sammy actually has a soundboard.
I'll
so,
quickly.
You know,
the only well, aside from my fart soundboard. Seriously. Aside from the fact that you guys cannot hear it when I do a drum roll, only those online can hear it. All right. So I hope you guys don't mind. Let's see. This definitely requires a drum roll. That's why I'm doing it. So I think I might be using the wrong soundboard because this is the dodgy one that doesn't have a way for you to stop it. I like to be in control of my own destiny, right? All right, bear with us, guys. We should have this going. If you guys were wondering, last week we had some issues where if we did switch to a new page on the slide deck, it actually starts playing music. And for those who were unfortunate, or should I say unfortunate enough to hear me rap, if you came today to hear me rap again with my artist name Little Pond, it's not happening tonight. You are definitely not hearing me rap.
Hey. Oh, is that because Jamie's going to do it instead?
Yes, Jamie, are you up for rapping, mate? I don't know about that, but if you are, that would be that would be interesting. Well,
yeah, I once got into a rap battle when I was in like bronze life saving at 15 or 16. That was interesting.
No way. Tell us more. Well, look, hold that thought. Let's go through the finishes introduction, and then we'll come right to that story. That story you're about to tell, I want to hear it. Look, yes, we are moving our platform from a one course purchase based option to a monthly subscription option. So there's going to be a tier that appeals to every single person, depending on what part of the world you are from. We are going to make sure that you can afford it. So I hope you guys are ready. Yes, please bear with us. Give us 2 or 3 weeks. We would have an easy get in through the door. So initially we're going to have it very cheap. We probably might even run some discounts as well. So if you have not signed up already, please send through your email so you can register your interest on our platform as well. So with that, Nathan, do you want to give us a quick introduction, mate?
A quick introduction? Yeah, sure. I suppose, like Sammy was saying before, he's the Cyber Yoda. I don't know how that's defensive or offensive, or what's that really got to do with anything. But
it just means I'm very wise.
Yes, that's right. I am what Sammy calls the malware alchemist, the Python guru, the automator of everything, that guy who lives in Antarctica, and the mysterious one. I don't know.
The mysterious one.
I'm a threat hunter. I'm a SOC analyst. I'm an all-rounder. I'm that guy you don't want to receive an email from.
Yes.
And that's my introduction. That's who I am, and I don't know what I'm going to say.
Well, that's a good summary of a role that has high impact, right? If you're getting an email, it's bad news.
Jamie, FYI, we cannot see your camera. Can you please turn that on so the audience wants to see your face, mate? What are you doing? All right.
I'm happy to do that, but I can't do that and stream at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. When we start streaming, we can turn it off then. So, but for now, I think we're probably going to if you don't mind turning it on so people can see your face. They just want to make sure that it's not ChatGPT answering the questions on your behalf. It's like
no AI back here, man. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. My camera is it wasn't the streamer. My camera is just no go. But I'm happy to introduce myself anyway.
Yes.
Not to hide behind my fantastically rad Discord profile pic, but yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Happy to be here again. Honored that some of you might recognize me. But I'm Jamie Eccleston. I am a threat hunter with Trustwave. I work full-time at Australia's energy market operator on secondment, and I spend all my time doing cyber threat intelligence analysis and then using that to do really good threat hunting. Could talk about it for a very long time, but that's something that I'm going to get to do later on anyway. So I'll pass back to Sammy for now.
Yeah, cool. Look, the key thing is that, like, you've been in this game for a bit, and a lot of people are keen to hear your story and your background, especially how you got into cyber. But obviously, above and beyond that, one of the key things that a lot of people that are that I'm having a chat with is that people are recognizing how important purple teaming is in general within cyber. So essentially, just understanding attackers' tactics, and also having the best ways to defend against them, because ultimately the key thing here is that if you don't understand it, you really cannot genuinely defend against it. And I think I was talking to someone recently about one of the very, I guess, dangerous stats that is out there, which is over, again, don't quote me on this, guys, over 90% of cybersecurity defenders have never seen a real cyber threat before, like a cyber attack. So pray tell me, how are you supposed to defend against something you've never seen before or you do not understand? So, and this is where purple teaming comes in as a great way for people to sort of gain that technical hands-on experience that is required to be able to defend organizations from the emerging threat. Talking about emerging threat, we've got some pretty cool threat landscape topics today that Nathan and I are excited to share with everyone. But look, Jamie, we are going to dive in and do some interviews later. But before we kind of, I guess, jump right in, this is your very first episode, jumping in with us. Typically how NerdKnight happens is that after we finish this introduction, the very next thing is when we unleash the nerd, all right? Well, I should say that again. We unleash the nerd. Only those online can hear what just happened there. My soundboard did something. So, Jamie, there's a few things that you may not necessarily understand or see, unless you're listening on YouTube as well. But if you've just jumped in with us, this is a great session where we get to unwind after a very long week. Like, a lot of guys are studying full-time. So many people I know are juggling full-time study plus also work as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a journey, and having NerdKnight as a way to sort of unwind at the end of the week is super important. And with that, I think I'm gonna go to that I guess that drum roll again, and get it going. I wonder what this is. Yes.
I wonder what that is too.
That is pretty awesome. That was a really good sound, drum roll. I love that one. That was pretty cool. Well, guys, the reason you heard that was because it is time for, you guys know what segment it is? Trash talk.
Yes. Oh, okay. Trash talk.
Trash talk. Well, the best episode of the day, actually. I do love trash talk because it's the one time where all rules, all bets are off. All rules goes out the window. We just dive right in and have a lot of fun. So the prompt for today, in case you guys are listening or you want to be part of it, is AI is coming for your job. True or false? What do you guys think about it? What do you think someone in cyber needs to do to ensure that AI doesn't come for the job? Or is this whole AI thing an absolute, I guess, massive bloated hype that is probably going to deflate very fast? I'm keen to hear what you guys think. Like, Jamie, because you're the guest of honor today, I'm going to get you to sort of begin with the prompt. So what do you think? AI, it's everywhere. Like, literally every single CISO. I saw this meme today. Let me see if I can find it. It's pretty much every CEO, they're like, me, I want AI. And when they ask them, what do you want the AI for? They say, I don't know. But do you really want it? They say, yeah, we want it. When do you want it? Now. So there is almost this, I guess, overhype that is in AI, and people are overestimating and overinflating what the capability that AI has. Again, of course, when we say AI, we're talking about large language models specifically, and generative AI, which is essentially for generating predictive text. So, Jamie, what do you reckon? Where are we going with this? Good or bad?
Yeah, so Nathan, I will ask you later how much you even use AI in your job, but like the first thing I would say actually is Microsoft's marketing put out a really interesting short clip recently where they had one of their senior staff trying to myth bust AI for what it is and is not good for. And they were sending a very clear message that AI is very good for enhancing decision making and getting all the data together, but it should not replace humans making decisions because it can't make decisions completely autonomously with the reliability or even necessarily the accuracy that we need. So, I mean, is AI replacing your job, or what's your job? As a pen tester, definitely not yet. But the research it's pushing forward, right? But it's pushing forward in a way where, as a pen tester, maybe you'll be able to leverage AI to do a better job, or a quicker job. But it's not going to replace you as the pen tester, right? And then in the SOC, well, I mean, AI is very good at giving summaries based on contextual info, but is it going to be able to be trusted with taking actions on devices or, otherwise manipulating the SOC processes that get manipulated by, even junior SOC analysts? I don't think so. But Nathan, I'll let you pitch in on that too.
Yeah, I have something to say because I actually just asked AI this question. So I said,
Classic.
so if you were going to take my SOC analyst job, what would I need to give you in return? And it said, only if you pay me in GPU time and energy drinks.
Well,
That's amazing. That's a fantastic response.
that is a great trash talk response. Well, you know what I think is that one thing AI cannot do, quite literally, is it cannot cook a very good steak. Like, do you guys think that AI can cook a good steak? No, it cannot. So AI might take my job, but it's not definitely never going to learn how to cook a nice juicy steak. Although I did see Elon Musk with his human rights, serving drinks, but it was very creepy. Did you guys watch that video?
Nope.
That particular one.
It was very. I think I've got a video of it somewhere. I don't know if we're gonna get flagged for this. See, I need a YouTube what is the word assistant, human right robot. Yeah.
Mate, I would kind of like to ask a question as my answer with some thoughts on this whole question. And my question is, so like, if you were to think about it, what would be AI's worst career choices if it was going to take someone's job? And my thoughts on it are, as a barista, let's say you order a triple shot macchiato, is that how you say it? With oat milk. But then AI replies with, oh no, this violates our algorithm's ethical guidelines.
Well, I have seen some very funny ones. We asked AI to generate some content for us for the Hack for Good CTF, and simply because the word gun was mentioned in it, the AI was like, no, I cannot generate that content. I'm like, seriously, we said toy gun. The AI is like, I don't want to generate anything that has gun in it. So there's obviously that there's conscious effort to sort of limit things a little bit. By the way, those who are online, I want to hear what you guys are saying. So I see what you're saying, Sarah, or Randy, just to avoid letting everyone know who your name is. Use some AI to enhance it. Yes, definitely. Is that the steak you mean? Use some AI to enhance the steak. I have no idea what the AI is going to be doing, but so.
Oh mate, let's say AI decides to cook a steak for you. Every meal now is now porridge because the model optimized for maximum nutritional density and sadness.
Oh, seriously, that's just makiness. That's just rubbish makiness. I refuse to do that. But all jokes apart, though, like if I think about the cybersecurity, all good, Sarah. I knew you were talking about that. I was just trash talking. But by the way, guys, that's all good. By the way, guys, please let us know what you're thinking in the comment section so we can read it out. So we do read that comment section live. I think one of the key things that is super, super important is that I think a lot of people who are genius in this space, in cyber are going to miss out on a lot. Like, I was having a chat with someone recently, and one of the things I talked about was that when we got into cyber, like, it was almost like there was this, indirect pathway to it. Like, you bang your head on the wall for a couple of years, And then, eventually someone goes, you might be worthy of being paid $1. And then, maybe you volunteer and then they pay you a bit of money and then you find yourself in cybersecurity. There was no such thing as cybersecurity degree then. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to show my age. And one of the benefit with that is that you spend a lot of time perfecting your craft, understanding how system administration works. And everyone obviously knows by now that I'm a huge fan of just understanding the fundamentals, understanding how systems function. And before you actually go down the pathway of, I want to become an elite hacker, I want to become an elite defender. So looking at the roles that AI is likely to impact within the SOC environment, like there are some roles that I look at and I go, well, the level one analyst role in 2 years will probably look different from what it looks currently right now. Because a lot of that, initial check virus total, check malware bazaar, check this, check that, all of that will be automated away if it is a good SOC. So there is going to be some impact, I think. It's a matter of how quickly are you able to upskill again and get better over time so that you can do something that AI cannot do, which is often, the human reasoning, the analytics and the decision making that humans do. I'm not sure what you guys think about that. Do you fundamentally agree with that or not?
I was just thinking, like this is somewhat off topic, but I was thinking we might need to add like a new minor attack tactic to exfiltration, and that technique being job exfiltration by AI.
Oh, seriously. Fair enough. I do agree with that. I wouldn't say no to it. I would not say no to it. But look, I think the thing I've got on YouTube here is Sarah says AI wouldn't be that's cool. Says AI wouldn't be a good carpenter, but could possibly take most admin jobs. It's like, literally, watch this. That's what
AI can't do that, man. AI can't do that. AI ain't got nothing on you chopping some wood.
Yeah, no, it would not. And Precursor says AI is a useful tool in the hands of someone who is an expert in their field and who can tell the difference between valuable information and hallucination, right? Anywhere else, I think it is overhyped and unhelpful. Well, that's some good good highlight there. Thanks so much, Precursor. I think I know who you are, but it's good to see that you're a top fan. Wait, are you a top fan or not? Well, it doesn't look like you're a top fan. What are you waiting for? Hit that like button and subscribe. Well, the second prompt.
That's something I really agree with, actually.
Well,
subscribers or liking the video or what?
Which one is
all
it?
of it. But no, like when OpenAI announced GPT-5, one of the main things that they used to market it was in the video they put on YouTube was they had a very seasoned medical researcher using GPT-5 as an assistant, and obviously he was saying it's fantastic and it's great, but yeah, that's sort of in the hands of an expert, it's a very, very strong collaborator, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that. All right, I think we'll move on to the next prompt because we don't have a lot of time. So the last prompt for today is Zoom, Teams, Slack, or Discord. Which ruins productivity faster? Nathan, you go first.
Productivity faster?
Yeah, which is worse for productivity? Zoom, Slack, Teams, or Discord?
I have opinions on this.
I mean, I think it would be Slack because it's in the name. Slack is another word to be lazy.
Yes, slacking off at work. Yes, that counts too. I have seen someone recently that they're working, and I did not include WhatsApp specifically because, if you're on WhatsApp, you're technically probably not working. You're having a chat with your uncle in Romania. So, but I was on a call with this guy, and literally the whole time there were pop-ups from WhatsApp, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, how do you get work done, dude? So there's definitely a lot of platforms out there that is, especially if you join one of those wacky groups. I think I've joined a wacky group before on Telegram, and you just keep receiving a message every single millisecond. It just kept coming. So if you're one of those groups, I think I'll probably pick. I think I'll pick Teams simply because whenever you're on a Teams call, you have no RAM left to actually do work. Jamie, what do you think about that?
Yeah, your
RAM.
programmer RAM gets pushed out by the amount of RAM you need just to keep up with what's going on Teams, right? But yeah, nah. I mean, at least on Slack, I feel the culture tends to be, it's just audio only, right? Like you're in a huddle, it's an audio only huddle. You don't need to have your camera on, so you can put you can minimize the window and sort of just do what you're doing. But yeah, Teams has a neat feature where you can change like the call sound between like a number of different call sounds. And I changed mine to the I think it's called not disco. I forget what it's called. I think it's disco or like dance or something. It's like remix. But
Is this like
so
a voice
whenever I forget about my work laptop in the office, I forget to mute it and I just like go off and get a drink or something and someone calls me. It just screams this like electronic Teams, sort of Nexus tune. And the whole office wonders what's going on. But yeah, I don't think that's good for anybody's work productivity.
Well, so what is the winner? Guys online, put on the comment section. Are you a Zoom? Like, I guess, which is worse for productivity? Precursor. I have no idea. There's a W there, so I have no idea how to pronounce it. You think Zoom is worse for productivity? Okay. I have no idea what what beef you have with Zoom. I've never had a Zoom call without issues. Right. There's always issues. During the pandemic, one of the things I heard with Zoom is that a lot of teenagers and high schoolers would basically join a Zoom call and literally just put a face, turn their cameras off and literally just bagger off and go do absolutely nothing the whole day. And the teacher would teach, and then literally at the end of the day, they'd be like, the parents would come back from work and go, "How was school today?" Yeah. And then they would mark attendance. So yeah, obviously Precursor has a very, very personal beef with Teams. With Zoom. So I guess based on that,
FYI, Sammy, Precursor is Gisper.
I know that is Precursor. I'm trying I'm trying to hide his identity.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like, if no one knows who Gisper is, it doesn't matter if we say his name anyway. Or
well, now we've said it 3 times. Oh, there you go. Now he's a top fan. Look at that. Well, the dude is a top fan. I'm getting one from Intended Stranger. Zoom doesn't have the functionality of having a chat outside of a call. That is true. That is true. So you have to be on a call. Okay, so Zoom is the worst for productivity. Interesting. The amount of time the host puts a link in the Zoom chat at the end of the call. Yep. Nathan, you...
What did I do?
Precursor is like, Nathan, you're doxing me.
Yeah, maybe I might be.
Yep, he is doxing you. So you better go, I don't know. As long as Nathan doesn't say your last name, you should be fine. There's probably like 1 billion Gispers out there, right? Well, 1 gazillion Gispers out there. But I think this has been a great trash talk. Well, you guys obviously know what the next segment is. It is the segment of the hour. Jamie, obviously people cannot see your face. In case everyone is wondering who this Jamie guy is, I'm going to share his face again. So this is what Jamie looks like on a normal day when he's not dealing with a cyber incident. Jamie came to the event at Stone and Chalk the other day, and it was like, Sammy, yeah, I was just dealing with an incident at work. I was like, yeah, I know. It's just a normal day at work. No problems. Nothing to see here. Just move on. So, look, Jamie, if you're ready, look, let's jump right in and actually talk about your background in cyber. Like, one of the key things that I'm excited to, to sort of jump in as part of the Insight from an X segment. So the whole idea of Insight from an X is really just to, have a chat with someone who's been in the industry for a bit and get to hear their personal experience and I guess the knowledge around the area of specialization that they have in cybersecurity. So you've been in threat hunting for a bit now, and you've also done threat intelligence. So you definitely have a fair bit about this area. I wouldn't call you a Yoda yet, but unless you want to claim the title Yoda, in which case I might have to fight you. But before we dive right into that, I'm keen to sort of hear your story. How did it all begin? Like, where did you come from? Like, how did you get into cyber? If you don't mind telling people that.
It's a good story. I mean, I was at university in Sydney at UNSW, in 2019, and I live in Melbourne, and I came back home to Melbourne over the summer. And then just before I was going to go back in 2020 for my last year of university there, COVID happened and they shut the border between Victoria and New South Wales, and I got stuck, right? And the thing was it was already a couple of weeks into semester. So from the university's point of view, you were supposed to be there, and I was sort of jumping in at the last minute. And so I got caught out, and I realized I need to figure out a plan. And at the time, doing the OSCP was really highly regarded, and it still is. It definitely still is. I think there's a lot more competition out there now. But I basically said, all right, I'm going to self-study the OSCP. I'm going to try and get a pen tester job, but those are pretty hard to get as a newcomer. So I'll just aim high, and then maybe I'll just end up in a SOC job. That's great, right? Yeah. That's great. I get a job, everyone wins. Yeah, I just wanted to get a job with no degree, right? And then I basically completed the OSCP in May of 2022. And, about 5-6 months later, I actually did land that pen tester job at Trustwave, which was fantastic. I did a bit of extra study through Portswigger's Web Security Academy because WebSec is everywhere in pen testing, right? So that helped. And that was how I got into cyber, by doing the attacker study, which, as you've said, I think attack informed defense is the way. If you can do attacks yourself, it gives you so much mental structure for learning cyber as a defender, because you know what you're dealing with to some degree.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Nathan, if you do have any questions for Jamie, I'll give you some time to ask him. But that definitely sounds like a very unnatural journey into cybersecurity, right? For a lot of people, they think you need a degree to be able to get into cyber. I will admit the market is changing. But one of the things that I guess your journey has demonstrated is that it's often that hands-on. It's often grinding, when everyone else is chasing after a degree or a master's. It's often grinding away. I don't know how long it took you altogether to land that first gig. After you, how many years did you spend in university? Was that the second or third year before you left?
So I actually did my first year at Monash, and then I transferred into a double degree at UNSW, which meant I was like a mix of transfer student, double degree, blah, blah, blah. So that actually would have been, if I had gone back in 2020 and finished my degree, that actually would have been my 5th year of university.
Wow.
Doing physics and computer science, which I would have liked to have finished, but I'm doing my master's now, so that's all right, and in machine learning.
Oh, cool. Seriously, dude, you didn't tell me that. A master's in machine learning. So what prompted you to do that?
Well, I've always wanted to go back and get a degree, right? I've always wanted to do that, finish that. I don't want to have no degree. But yeah, and doing it part-time alongside work it's not that bad. Doing a couple of units a semester online, very flexible. Yeah.
Is that still within UNSW or a different university at this time?
I'm actually doing this one through Deakin, because Deakin's here in Victoria.
Yeah.
So that works a bit better. Yeah, UNSW's online offerings weren't quite as good, but I'll close that out by the end of next year if I stick to it.
Cool. That sounds exciting. I guess obviously, I'm sure everyone online. By the way, guys, please feel free to put your questions for Jamie in the comment section. Jamie Obi-Wan in Star Wars terms. So. Put your question
Does that mean I'm old?
Well, Internal Stranger will have to answer that question for you. But one of the key things, I guess, your experience is quite unique. But before you landed that job at Trustwave, talk us through what that experience was like. How long did it take you from wanting to starting to study the OSCP? Obviously, haven't spent another 4 years, doing a double degree in cyber and physics, but how was the actual journey? When did that start from when you said, yes, I want to do the OSCP, to when you actually landed that job? And how was the interview experience? Are there any tips that you would give to someone who's perhaps wanting to step into an interview room?
Yeah, so, and I would just point out that when I did my degree, half of it was computer science. And then even in that, I only did one introductory unit in cybersecurity. So I didn't have crazy cyber knowledge from my degree. I really got my knowledge from doing the OSCP, right? And the material around that people recommended. So for example, the Tiberius courses, which, you know, I can link to that. But in terms of getting the job after I passed the exam, I was very happy. But in terms of getting the job, doing the interviews, there's a bit to be said, right? So I think the first thing that I would tell anybody is if you're getting your first job and you're going for an interview and they're willing to interview you, you landed that interview, that's great, right? You got your foot in the door. You need to look at that role and think, what is this role about? What are they going to be asking me? That was why I went and did the additional web security study on Portswigger's Free WebSec Academy, right? To get that extra knowledge in to pass that interview. And, you know, obviously if you have something, you know, like CyLynk where you're going to get a pathway, it can help you with that. But just knowing what the role is and knowing what exactly you're aiming for, that helps you get past those interview questions. Because guys, when it's your first role, the interview questions are not super technical, right? Like, it's normal to be nervous, but if you know what sort of knowledge area they're going to be expecting you to have, then it gets quite predictable. And again, like if you do a couple of interviews, like I did, you know, 2 interviews before from different companies, and then I got rejected before I got anywhere with my TrustWave role. So, you know, doing those interviews helped prepare me to succeed in the TrustWave interview. If the TrustWave interview had been my first interview, maybe I wouldn't have done quite as well. So you've just got to see it as a process that you get better at, and then eventually you land it.
Yep.
Cool. So from start to finish, from when you started your OSCP to when you landed that job, how long would you say that took?
Oh yeah, the OSCP took me. It actually took me like a good couple of years to get through, and there's reasons for that. I mean, obviously COVID here was pretty significant, but once I was really in the routine, it took me about 8 months to study and pass the OSCP. And that is also partly because they changed the exam format at the time at the end of
that happened to me too.
in 2021. Yeah, they did that. So about 8 months of doing that.
And then from then to landing that job, how long? Because so the reason I'm asking you this is that often like people think that, like, I've seen people say that they're doing a 6-week cybersecurity boot camp. I'm like, what are you going to learn in cyber in 6 weeks, right? And this is why on our platform, like even at Job Ready Tracks, the smallest one you can get is 6 months, and even at that, we still support the person for another 6 months, right? Because the journey can sometimes take years, you know. Like some people get quite favored and they land a job pretty quickly. But the cyber roadmap and the cyber journey can sometimes take a fair bit of time. So I'm kind of trying to provide some I guess, you know, anchor of reality to someone who might be watching this and going, oh, this guy maybe perhaps overnight became a threat hunter at TrustWave. And there's always a story. So how long did that take you after the OSCP to then finally land a job?
Yeah, so after I did the OSCP, I finished I passed the OSCP May 1st, 2022, and I started work November 21st, 2022.
Wow, so that's an additional 6 months there.
Yeah, and that was, you know, I wasn't doing anything else in that time. I was just trying to get a job. I mean, yeah, I took a short break after I finished the OSCP from study, but yeah, I was just trying to get a job. And the one thing I'd like to add as well was I actually had a company, which, look, I'm not going to name. I mean, it's only here in Australia anyway. But they actually tried to get me to do a very significant amount of work for free as part of their interview process. Stuff like that
sounds dodgy. That sounds very dodgy. That sounds like they want to take advantage of you.
Yeah, like don't, you know, if you get caught up in something shifty or whatever, like don't get too disheartened. Just continue on with, you know, the journey of like landing that role.
Yeah. Nathan, do you have any questions for Jamie?
Yeah, I do. So, like, okay, I can think of one so far. So, based on everything you've said, the majority of the skills and everything that you've gotten have come from, you know, the OSCP and things that you've done outside of uni. And so, like, if that's the case, what appealed you to going back to uni? Was it so you could pivot into threat hunting, or, you know, was it just sounded like a fun idea?
So, look, I mean, I already said, you know, I don't want to not have a degree. Like, for me, that's pretty significant just personally, because it was something I really looked forward to as an achievement. So when it didn't happen, I was pretty upset by that, and I want to fix it. But more than that as well, I think that, with everything that's happened with AI, like we talk about LLMs all day, right?
Yeah.
But I do think it's actually shone a big spotlight for me on how much like broader machine learning techniques are really like they're still under leveraged. Like there's so many people out there who are skilled at it, but machine learning is something which, in like going forward, it's just got more and more room to improve society. So it's something that I'm interested in for that reason. So yeah, a bit of like the, AI boom sort of getting me interested in those machine learning techniques. And yes, I'd love to apply that to cyber, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you've got the knack for it. So I would say definitely go for it, mate. And enjoy the learning experience, right? Like this is one of the things we say here at CyLynk is that here everyone is a learner, and once you're a learner, you're always a learner. So we've got a bunch of lifelong learners here. So whether that be via a degree, I was having a chat with someone recently, and I said to them like, I have no issue with someone getting a degree. I have no issue with someone getting a master's. The only one thing I have an issue with is that just like how a medical doctor would spend 11 years or so or thereabout, actually they first spend 4 years in medical school, and then they basically like before they actually ever to get to touch a patient and do stuff. I'm not an expert in this. It takes them another 6 or 7 years to eventually get there, and that comes with a lot of hands-on practice. So I think there's there's a bit of lie that people are hearing that getting a degree prepares you for an actual real job. It doesn't. Like once you finish that degree, you actually need to then start working on the real world experience that you need. And at CyLynk, we call this job readiness, right? And this is what we provide. We provide purple teaming, which is essentially attack and defend, job readiness skill that people need to be able to go beyond that degree, go beyond the masters, go beyond the certificate 4 in cybersecurity or an associate degree that they've done. And this is really what is important. It's not the degree. It's more so what do you want out of the degree and what have you done outside of it. The same thing applies to a pilot. They go to school for, I don't even know how long pilots study for. They still go and they still need to rack up those hours in an air flight simulator. I think that's probably more like what it is in cyber, actually, if I think about it. Like, I don't know if you guys would agree with me with that, is that once you finish the degree from pilot school, you need to actually spend a lot of hours in the flight simulator, trying to demonstrate that you actually can be trusted to fly an airplane. And I feel like the same thing should be applied to cyber, which is essentially that job readiness side of things. I'm not sure to what extent it can be, but would you guys say that's something that I guess that is a true statement?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, right? And I just was going to add, like, I just remember thinking when I did get my job, and, I got my job very much from doing the OSCP and learning through that. I just remember thinking, like, if I had done my degree, even if I had done my degree entirely in cybersecurity, I would have thought like, oh, I've got my degree, I don't need to go and do a certificate. And then I would have been worse off, right? So, it's funny how you can be quite narrow-minded based on the expectations that people set up for you. And like, yeah, what do you need at the end of the day? You need, practical job-ready skills. How do you best get that? Well, the more you can do hands-on practical practice, the better, right? Foundational knowledge, always fantastic. Always recommend that if somebody can get that foundational study and do it. But yeah, Precursor, I'll just quickly answer your question. What was your biggest challenge or hurdle undertaking the OSCP? For me, it was practicing the content, because the OSCP, when I did it, it was just like it had this one lab environment, and it's a lab environment where everybody can sort of use it at the same time. Like not literally everyone doing the OSCP, but like multiple people.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's a very big environment. You sort of don't know where to go, and like you do get used to it. But what happened by the time I'd finished it, and is, like that it's now the main way to practice, I think, is they brought out this thing called Proving Grounds, where you can practice in virtual machines for specific things, and it's much closer to the exam. But before that came out, it was harder to like practice for the exam. And it's really surprising how much supplementary material you still need like how much guidance you need to get through the OSCP in some cases. Like you really need people who've sort of been through it or know what they're doing around it. Yeah, that was honestly the biggest challenge for me.
No,
Just thought of another
that's
question.
good. Yeah, you go.
Yep. So, maybe this is somewhat of a stupid question, but I think I want to ask it anyway. So the OSCP, in terms of like, skills like networking or like coding and whatever, because I know you said you did computer science before. How helpful do you think that was actually to doing the OSCP and I suppose like, the rest of your career? Because I sort of asked the question because some people who want to become pen testers or whatever say that, they don't think they need to learn coding or whatever to better understand what they're doing, or they don't want to learn the basics. They just want to jump straight into cyber without learning, the foundational skills first. I don't know if that question made any sense.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And like, if we could just dive into the answer, yeah, like I, like this is not going where you think it is, but you don't need to be an expert coder
No,
to do cybersecurity. Okay, you don't need to have a degree in software engineering, computer science to do cybersecurity. But guys, if you have never coded before, I promise you there is knowledge that is missing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it depends on what you want to go for, right? Like you could absolutely be, a SOC analyst without really knowing how to code to a strong degree. But if you've never even looked at code, you've never even like given it a go, you're missing out on like a pretty foundational understanding of like how computers work, right? You're missing out on understanding like why is HTML hypertext markup language and not a programming language, right? Why is Python so popular? What is a library? There's a lot of things that will make sense to you if you just have a bit of foundational coding knowledge. So yeah, don't gatekeep yourself on what you do or don't need to know to get into cyber, but also don't kid yourself that you can skip things that everybody else probably has done, right? And again, having that common language that you can speak with other people, that's very helpful, right? Cyber is a huge field. Anywhere, anytime that you can take a step to speak some of the common language, that's great. You should.
Such great advice actually there. Like it's do not keep yourself away from learning the things that you need to learn, right? And do not be in such a rush that you would skip things, right? So I've got something from Internal Stranger. For me specifically, one of the struggles in an interview is remembering the port numbers and what protocols they match to. If you ask me now on port, you will lose me pretty quickly. It'll be interesting to hear Jamie's thought on. I guess this is probably more like a general question on interview skills. And Jamie, I will let you answer this, but in my thought is probably this is a case of just more practice, with the knowledge. Because the more practice you have under your belt, the knowledge becomes second to nature to you. Your brain is a lot easier to your brain is a lot more able to reference the information when someone requests for it. But Jamie, keen for you to obviously respond to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick pretty tight to the question, and like genuinely, if you genuinely struggle to just remember stuff like that, you need spaced repetition, right? So you need, and spaced repetition is a technical term, right? Which I will just throw in the chat, but you need to, every week spend like 15 or 20 minutes, ideally like 2 or 3 times a week, just dedicating that time to remembering that information. And I guarantee you, mate, if you do that for a couple of weeks, you're going to remember. You will. I'm sure you're perfectly capable and perfectly intellectual. That being said, if you want to make it a little more concrete, what I would do is instead of just trying to be like, port 443 HTTPS, like think about it, sort of take it from the other side. Be like, okay, web servers, what do they use? Well, they use HTTP and HTTPS, 80 and 443. Take it from the other angle, and that might make it a little bit more concrete for you than just port number, protocol name. But yeah, if you practice some spaced repetition, that will definitely ensure that the memories are made.
Nah, that's pretty cool. I think I've got two more questions for you, and then we can wrap up this segment. So obviously, just fast forward into the job that you do right now. Sort of, I guess, talk us through what the job of a threat hunter, is, and it seems to me that there's obviously a bit of a story from how you went from pen testing to doing threat hunting. There is obviously because you got into Trust Wave as a pen tester. How did you move on into threat hunting, and what does the day to day in threat hunting looks like? And perhaps maybe just to end it, if you can give some tips to someone about how to get into threat hunting, right? What would someone do, to get into threat hunting today and on that journey that you went on? So 3 questions out of 2.
Sounds good. You've made me a recipe, so yeah, let's cook. So when I started at TrustWave, I did the pen testing for about 5 months, right? And then one day my manager said, "Do you want to do this really boring vulnerability management contract at AEMO?" And I looked around and nobody else wanted to do it, and I was like, "Look, I'll probably do it, touch it once, do it for 6 months, and then I'll be done, right? Get a little bit of experience in that area and then never touch it again." And I picked it up, and then about 2 weeks before I was meant to start the contract, they said, "Oh no, we found someone for vulnerability management. But we already signed the contract. We already signed the contract, so we'll put you into cyber threat intelligence." And I was like, "Great, another field that I also don't have expertise in. I can do that." So I started that contract in cyber threat intel, but I had a really good mentor at AEMO, and I picked that up. Reading and report writing, not super technical, but then Volt Typhoon, Chinese state-sponsored threat actor, they were basically outed by intel that was made public by the US and other governments. And that was a very, very, very big deal across critical infrastructure at the time, like energy and such. Those organizations were very worried about that sort of activity. And so AEMO, where I was, Australia's energy market operator, they said, "Well, we need someone to do threat hunting." And everybody was busy. And so it fell to me again, and they said, "Look, can you do this?" And I said, give me 2 months and I'll figure out how we can do it." And that's honestly how I got into threat hunting. I got into it just by basically keeping up with the requests that were made in a short-staffed organization, right? The thing about a short-staffed organization is that if you can put your hand up to do something, then they'll let you, usually, right? Obviously depends on the people in charge and such, but that's what happened with me. They let me do it, and it was a bit of a leap of faith on their part, but it paid off, and I've now been threat hunting there for 2.5 years. So in terms of, where do you want me to take this next, Sammy? Like, what is threat hunting about? Or
Yeah, it's because one of the things that I think is so misunderstood is threat hunting. It's one of those roles that people just go, "Oh, so what do you do on a day-to-day basis?" And having been a threat hunter myself, and Nathan does this at work, day to day, there's a lot of it that is not actually basically having a set action that you want to do. Sometimes you're just exploring and just looking around, and a lot of the times you're actually just spending time just communicating with customers and writing reports. So there's a lot of misconceptions about threat hunting. So, but that's my experience. Your experience might be different. So kind of maybe talk us through what you see or what you do day to day as a threat hunter, and then perhaps how could someone get into that place?
yeah, so the whole point of threat hunting is that you can't rely on automated tools for everything when you're worried about particularly sophisticated hackers, right? So if you're worried about a government-backed group of hackers or very sophisticated cyber criminals, you need to go beyond just waiting for an alert to come in, and you need to be proactive and do that sort of attack-informed defense. So in terms of how you sort of get into it, the first thing is you need to have an understanding of cyber defense, right? You need to have an understanding of, how the SOC does work, what automated tools do detect. And even more than that, I would say you need to understand what the attacks look like, right? Because at the end of the day, the whole point of threat hunting, as I said, instead of waiting for an alert to come in, you're going and looking for the attacks, right? And that's either because you want to be a bit proactive, or more to the point, probably because you are worried that the automated tools are missing things. And so if you're going to go and look for those attacks, you obviously have to understand what they look like. And not just what the attack looks like from the attacker's point of view of performing it, but you have to understand, what is this going to look like in my company's logs or my company's, security systems, right? You need to understand that. And developing that knowledge is honestly best done in probably a, SOC analyst or similar role. But, if you're working as an attacker, like I did, and then you're asked to sort of switch over, it's not too bad once you build up those basic defensive skills.
So I guess what would you say to a, I don't know, a 20-year-old Sammy who's studying to get into cyber and is aiming to be a threat hunter?
What is that a question?
Yeah.
It's all right. I think you just cut out briefly, but
right. I was just saying, like, what
if
would
you're-
you say to perhaps a 20-year-old who's studying to get into cyber and their aim is threat hunting?
Yeah,
What-
so
what-
I would say probably similar things to what I would say to someone who wanted to even just be a SOC analyst, which is, look, if you want to be good at this, right, do go and, perform some attacks yourself, in a lab environment or whatever, and understand what it takes, right? And then after that, the next step that you can realistically take is start reading the threat intelligence that is public. So for instance, the Vault Typhoon reports, there's 2 of them. They're public. You can go and grab them with a Google search right now, Vault Typhoon, report. And those reports contain all of the intelligence that the US Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency wanted to make public about that threat actor. And you can look at what they do. And then you can start thinking about, well, how would I look for this? And if that's a really big question for you, then maybe you need to spend a little bit of time working as a SOC analyst. But that's what I would say.
No, that was actually really good. Nathan, was there anything that you wanted to add? If not, I think that's a pretty good place to sort of wrap the insight from an X segment up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so is your threat hunting experience from, at AEMO, at an organization where you have customers that you're doing the threat hunting in, or is it just threat hunting at AEMO?
It is just internal at AEMO. It's not across multiple customers. We do need to be careful because AEMO systems are depended on by many clients. But yeah.
Yeah, well, something I can add to that because so your experience to threat hunting is a little bit different to mine because at Securo we have customers that we have different environments we have to hunt through, and something you have to think about is you need to know how to use the SIEM that the customer is using, the right queries for those, so that you can hunt for the data for your hunts and whatever. But you also need to be aware of the log sources that they have.
Yeah.
And the different. If you don't know what data the customer has in their environment, you're not going to make an effective hunt.
Yeah, that's just mapping that back to what I said as well is like you need to be thinking about what the attack looks like that you're hunting for, but then obviously the immediate flip side of the coin is how does that actually show up in your security tools? Because if your security tools, if there's any gap between the attack happening and the log landing in your SIEM, you don't see the attack, right? If there's anything, if there's anything in the way that might cause a log to drop or the coverage just isn't there, well, now you're not going to see any results in your threat hunting queries and you're going to think, great, no attack, but you've got to be careful.
Yep. Which means that you also have to go and look in that environment, see what logs are there, do that before you plan, because, if you don't, your plan is going to go all out the window and you're going to be like, oh man, I wasted, 2 weeks planning this amazing threat hunt on lateral movement, and I don't even have the logs that I can search for.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Right, it sounds like a rite of passage. Is planning a hypothesis that you have no logs for. Well, folks, I think that's a really good place to sort of wrap up the insight from an X. Jamie, I think the whole of CyLynk team want to thank you genuinely for giving your time to the community today. With that, look, we just give you a cheer and a hand clap. So thank you very much, mate, for giving your time. Hopefully this was fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know you were pretty much there, on the hot seat for a fair bit of time there. For like, dude, you could totally be the president of the US. Like you were just taking it like left, right, and center for like a whole 30 minutes. Hopefully this was fun, mate.
I had a great time. I love trying to get people on their way because I've been there through that. What do I do? And then working my way into, oh, this is what you can do actually. So yeah.
Cool. Now that sounds awesome. I guess, Nathan, what do you reckon? What is the next episode? The next segment actually.
It's the labs, right?
No, it's the threat landscape. We haven't done threat landscape today.
Oh, are we going to do the political landscape after that? And talk about the monkeys in Nigeria?
No, we are not. All right. It is the ultimate threat landscape, the segment of the night or the day, depending on where you're watching this from, whether you're watching it from Romania or Lagos, Nigeria, or, I don't know. Actually, where is the furthest place on earth that has the most opposite time? I think that would probably be West Africa. Because is there like a GMT -2 or 3? I'm pretty sure of it. Like where is the most opposite place on earth where, like, literally, because right now it is like, I don't know, 10 p.m. Australian time. Obviously, if you're in Melbourne or Sydney or Canberra, if you're in Perth, those people, you are 2 hours behind. So it'll be 8 p.m. in Perth at the moment. But there are places on earth where it's like 9 a.m. at the moment right now. So I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, wherever you're watching from, this is the segment of the century, of the day. It is the segment where we dig into the APTs and then we chew and spit them out. And it's also the awesome segment of the tinfoil hat, where all the conspiracy theories in cybersecurity come out. So to get things going, we have Mr. Nathan, the liquid leg himself. I get what is your other name? Is it Gentle Bagel or what is
Bossy Bagel?
Bossy Bagel?
Lamb Legs.
Mr. Lamb Legs, and I don't know, Mr. Neddy Nate House, Pastor Nate, and Professor Nate. He's going to be starting from the first one. So, Nathan, what is going on with APT 28? Seriously, not door? What does that even mean?
So, am I going to share my screen for that, or are you going to do that?
Oh, you go for it and read. So, I'm already sharing my screen. I can share my screen as well, so you can see it from Discord.
Wait, you're actually sharing your screen?
Yeah, but you cannot see it, so that's fine. Now you can see it.
Okay. All right.
So, what is going on here?
All right. So, let me just get there. Yep. So there is a Russian state-sponsored hacking group named APT28, like we just said. Guess what APT stands for? It's not Advanced Persistent Threat.
No, it's always I don't know. I'm trying to make up a word.
It's the Australian Potato Turtles.
Number 28.
That's exactly what it is. Yep. And there's 28 of them. Has been attributed to the new Microsoft I was going to say Outback, but no, it's Outlook backdoor called NotDoor in attacks targeting multiple companies from different sectors in NATO member countries. NotDoor is a VBA macro for Outlook designed to monitor incoming emails for a specific trigger word.
Ooh.
I don't know what the trigger word is. There are actually a few trigger words that it mentions in this article, but I don't know what this particular one is.
You mean liquid potato, or I don't know, juicy steak, or what is it?
Chocolate steak.
No, Wagyu. Like steak. I think it would definitely trigger. Jamie, do you reckon it would trigger on Wagyu steak?
50-50. Bet you 2K.
50-50. He's with the chocolate steak.
Okay, fair enough. Keep going.
Lab 52's threat intelligence team has mentioned that when such an email is detected, it enables the attacker to exfiltrate data and execute commands on the victim's computer. It doesn't say, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it does. So when it triggers the keyword, because it says later in the article, that's when it exfiltrates the data and executes the commands. The artifact artifact I can English today. Gets its name from the word nothing within the source code. The Spanish cybersecurity company added the activity highlights the abuse of Outlook as a stealthy communication, data exfiltration, and malware delivery channel. That sentence didn't really make a lot of sense, but okay. The exact initial access vector used to deliver the malware is currently not known, but analysis shows that it's deployed via a Microsoft OneDrive executable,
Ooh.
OneDrive.exe, very creatable? That's not even a word. What am I saying? Using a technique referred to as DOL sideloading. We all know what that is. Actually, some people might not. This leads to the execution of a malicious DOL. SPICLI.DOL, which then installs the VBA backdoor and disables macro security protection. Specifically, it runs base64 encoded PowerShell commands to perform a series of actions that involve beaconing to an attacker-controlled webhook.site, setting up persistence through registry modifications, and enabling macro execution and turning off Outlook-related dialog messages to evade detection. The great not door. It's using reverse psychology on us to make us think it's not actually a.
You're definitely not a backdoor, right?
No,
Like,
definitely
no.
not
Definitely
a
not.
door. It's a window.
That's why. Okay. The great not backdoor is designed as an obfuscated Visual Basic. Why didn't I just say VBA? Project for Outlook that makes use of the application.mappy logon complete and application new email X events to run the payload every time Outlook is started or when a new email arrives and picks up on that keyword that we talked about. It then proceeds to create a folder in the temp directory if it does not exist, using it as a staging folder to store random TXT files created during the course of the operation and exfiltrate them to another random Proton mail address. It also passes incoming messages for the trigger word, such as daily report, causing it to extract embedded commands. It doesn't say where the embedded commands are coming from, so I'm assuming that it's talking about someone receiving like an email with the keywords daily report in it, and the email supposedly has commands that can be executed that the macro extracts from that and then executes them. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
So
I
some of the
think it's
commands,
probably more describing the data exfiltration pathway, right? So because somewhere here you can see that there's a Proton mail for data exfiltration.
Yep.
So maybe it receives a Proton mail called daily report, and then that essentially contains all of the activities or perhaps the next actions to be taken, which includes
that's what
commands
I
to
was
execute.
Yep. So some of the commands being CMD, execute commands and returns the standard output as an email attachment. Okay. CMD no just executes a command. DWN to exfiltrate files from the victim's computer and by sending them as email attachments. That makes sense. I'm assuming UPL is upload. Oh no, it's to drop files to the victim's computer. Oh yeah, it is upload. Yeah. Okay. I knew that. I was testing myself. Files exfiltrated by the malware are saved into the folder and I was thinking the folder name was Lab52, but that's not what it says. The file contents are encoded using malware's custom encryption, sent via email, and then deleted from the system. The disclosure as Beijing-based, actually, how much time do I have left for this, Sammy?
Well,
have I spent too much time reading
you
this already?
you could probably wrap up.
Yeah, I'm just going to wrap up. Things happened, and what are your thoughts?
Look, I think there's definitely a few things here that interest me, but like if we would give I'll be more than happy to give Jamie the first speaking spot. He's the guest of honor. So Jamie, what do you think about this one?
I mean, it's funny, right? Having a backdoor which is looking for that very innocent bit of text to then go and run certain commands or whatever. That's the kind of thing that you don't see as often. normally cyber criminals are just putting so much effort into getting something in undetected and getting something in that has high impact that worrying about like whether once they're successfully in, someone sort of sees it after the fact, that's kind of secondary, right? And like Chinese, sponsored actors, they're very much like this is their playbook. They just want to get in and succeed at their attack. And if they succeed, they don't really care about getting seen. But this is a lot more discreet than that in some ways.
Mm. Well, it's definitely interesting. Like, obviously, for someone who's maybe a threat detection engineer or an analyst, there are definitely a lot of I guess IOCs or indicators of attack that you could look at for here. One of them being that the actual files are dropped in temp in the Windows temp directory, and there's a TXT file supposedly containing some operations that is sending emails to Proton Mail. I believe there's a few IP addresses as well. C2 server IP address completely masked by Microsoft relay nodes. Oh, that's interesting. So that is useless. Thank you very much. This is a bit sophisticated, but not that very sophisticated. But it seems like there's a few places. What really got me interested here is that by default, VBA is disabled in Outlook.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
how
And so that they sideloaded this DOL,
and
to
that is where
disable
the
that
thing.
protection.
Yep, that's exactly where this got in. So that's where I'm going. Well, how did this happen? And then you read about the initial access vector, right? The malware is currently delivered potentially using OneDrive. So from a detection point of view, or from a prevention point of view, like this is something that you can't really do much about. So what I would probably recommend for organization is that if you have like a central data storage server like OneDrive or any of those other ones, like most platforms already do this by default, is to have malware scanning enabled by default, so that when a user is shared a malicious file, that is picked up. Like an example of this is that by default, you cannot share an executable file with Google Drive. So it's like Google's way of sort of preventing someone maliciously, unintentionally downloading an exe file or something like that. Like if you try to upload an exe file into Google without zipping it up, I've had a situation where I zipped up an exe file, and still Google was able to pick up that something was a source from it. So this is essentially one way. Has anyone else had that too?
Funny? You know what's funny is that it's different for DOL files. Like a little while ago, I wrote my own backdoor that was executed by a DOL, and when I uploaded it to Google Drive, and it didn't care. It was just like, oh, I can't read this file, blah blah blah, and whatever. So I was able to go and create like a public link, and then go and use that to go and download my my DOL with when my installer started, and deleted itself and whatever to go and make the backdoor. And like Google just didn't care. I don't know why, but
well, because it's sharing it with yourself.
if it's an exe, it's suddenly a problem now.
Yep. Once it becomes an executable file, Google is like, yeah, not happening under my watch. So I think that was definitely, that's one way to sort of prevent against it. But this one is definitely a very sneaky, cheeky attack, and also obviously very targeted as well. So you can see that it's NATO member countries, which obviously doesn't surprise me, being that it's a state-sponsored, APT. So this is obviously very politically motivated. But yeah, this was a really good one. I'm looking at the comment section to know if anyone has obviously added anything to it. I don't see any comments. If you do have any comments about this particular threat landscape article, just let me know. We don't have a lot of time. Let's jump right into the second one. So, Mr.
Alrighty.
Awesome Nathan has shared the cool one with us. Well, I have this. This is making the news. I feel like everyone here already probably knows about this. The 5, now potentially 7. I think like it's now 7 now because Tenable has been announced. So it's been announced that Tenable is also impacted by this, and there's also another organization as well, and another cybersecurity firm that has been impacted by this. So guys, I think everyone here knows what Salesforce is. So Salesforce is one of those, like they're massive conglomerate globally. Like a lot of Fortune 500 companies use Salesforce for their internal customer relationship management system. So that's what the CRM is. So this is basically things like automating customer response, making sure that tickets can be created and resolved, a whole bunch of client relationship management and client database management, including lead management. So things that actually enable organizations to generate money relies on CRMs to be able to function. Like imagine running Google and you have to manually using a spreadsheet to track all of your clients and then track which one has paid and which one hasn't paid. Right now you can see the dilemma. This is why a CRM system is super important, and this is why organizations like Salesforce are really, really good at it. Another example of a CRM platform would probably be Microsoft Dynamic, or you could potentially use something called Zoho One. Nathan hates Zoho, that's fine. But the list of victims impacted in the widespread attack. So basically what's happened with this attack is that somehow Salesforce has a yeah. Well, this is how much we don't like Zoho, apparently.
I like that you went back there. That's funny.
You wish that it happened to Zoho.
No, seriously, guys, do not put us in trouble. Well, what happened was that there is this AI chat bot that Salesforce has just released. It's called Sales Loft. Or is it? I guess Sales Loft. I think it's Sales Loft Drift. That is what it's called. Let me find it.
Sales
Yeah, Sales Loft Drift. So it's essentially an AI chat bot that handles client communication and like things like like question and answer when customers ask you a question, essentially dealing with customer queries and complaints and communication. Now, for this to be able to work with the CRM, it needs an integration using an API, and it can actually integrate with things like your AWS environment. It can integrate with a whole bunch of other third-party platforms. And what happened is somehow this particular unknown threat actor, I think the name is UNC, which is essentially a way for Google to sort of classify them. They are unknown threat actor, UNC C395. So this threat actor somehow found, got access to these tokens. So all of the tokens that people have left in the Sales Loft Drift application, automation application, they basically were able to compromise that and essentially stole all of the tokens. So all of the OAuth tokens, like the API keys, essentially, that for platforms like, I believe Google Workspace was impacted. So people who use Google Workspace, this was how this was initially detected. Google actually detected this initially. So, and organizations like, like Titanium, Zscaler, Palo Alto Networks, Cloudflare, SpyCloud, Tenable, Okta, there's a whole bunch of them, a whole, route of them who rely on Salesforce as the CRM and who were obviously using an API key to manage communication within their client environment. And this particular, threat actor, which is actually known by some articles as, I think their pseudonym, some people know them as Shiny. Let me find that information.
Oh,
I think
the great shiny hunters.
Yeah, I think it's Shiny Hunters. Yeah, I think that is it. Let me go and find it.
They only steal the shiniest of things. They have to be able to see their face in it.
Yes.
They really played too much Pokemon growing up.
Seriously. So basically, apparently, this is a big one because this is a massive supply chain attack. So a supply chain attack, if you don't know, is essentially where a threat actor targets an organization that you have business dealing with, and then using that channel to then impact you. So even though you might have a great security posture, you might have like a million firewalls and ADRs and whatnot. What if someone walks right through the front door? A sheep, whatever, a wolf in sheep clothing. That is essentially what a supply chain attack is. So they were able to walk through the front door by stealing those tokens and authenticating to organizations' platforms. So there's potentially upward of, I think the last time I checked, 700 organizations globally who have been impacted by this, and a lot of them are still actually being impacted. So some of the key impact is essentially they've stolen customer database information like email addresses, business name, business location, mobile numbers, and and key information that can be used to identify organizations. So platforms like Zscaler, which is obviously a well-known cybersecurity platform, SpyCloud, Palo Alto Network, I don't have to say much about them, even Cloudflare, right? All of these different organizations have been impacted by this. But I think the really interesting thing about this article is how, just by breaching one organization, a lot of high-profile organizations were also impacted as well. And I think this essentially gives us a little bit of snippet into how interconnected a lot of big orgs are. So if you can pop one of them, and there's often a lot of organizations that can be popped easily, then you end up popping a lot of them. Like, I think someone described this way. It's like someone going to hack your pizza store that your office likes to buy pizza from, so that when you guys buy pizza from them, they can steal your information, right? And use that as an initial entry point. Or they deliver the pizza and then do USB drops in the house, in the building. So if it's a highly protected facility and they go to compromise your pizza store, and then the pizza delivery guy get kidnapped on the way, guys, you can see that I'm going somewhere with this, and it's conspiracy theory. Your pizza.
Did I hear you wrong? Like you're talking about someone compromising your pizza, or
Yeah.
you have like an actual pizza saw?
No.
I mean, it's just an analogy, right? Although, much like cheese pizza, I would say this analogy is perhaps a bit of a stretch in some ways.
Well, it is not unheard of that this could happen if your favorite pizza store get popped, and then someone on
store.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Wrong. You're not talking about a saw platform. You're talking okay.
Oh, serious. Anyways, I'm happy to bring you guys in. By the way, if those online, feel free to add your comment in the comment section. But what do you guys think about this one? Or are you going to tell me that I explained it perfectly, Jamie? Do you guys think that I did it a massive justice by giving it a really nice explanation?
I was actually quite, because I just remembered. But I was just gonna say, I was wanting to say, this just takes us back to SolarWinds.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. That was a big one.
Oh yeah.
The classic supply chain attack, right? And if you don't know about what happened with SolarWinds, it was basically when China-backed actors were able to infiltrate the code that a company was using to produce a product, and that company was SolarWinds. And that product was used by literally hundreds of companies across the US and, internationally as well. And it was within critical infrastructure especially.
Yep.
So if you were one of those companies who bought, the SolarWinds product, you had, Chinese state actor code running on your systems. And that's exactly, as Sammy says, just walking in the front door, right? Trusted product, trusted, approved system.
After they compromised your pizza.
Yeah, Citrix Blade. Yeah, absolutely. That was another one. I believe the SolarWinds one, how the threat actors were able to get into those third-party systems where they actually pushed an update. And then everyone downloaded the update, not knowing that they essentially downloaded a backdoor. That was pretty cool, actually. Well, thinking about it, if you were one of the organizations that got impacted, I think you're probably not smiling. But yeah, Nathan, your thoughts?
Just the whole analogy of the story of the pizza and my misunderstanding of when you were trying to pronounce store and me thinking saw was just amazing. I couldn't have said it better myself. Just double points.
Are you saying that it's impossible for your pizza delivery guy to be kidnapped on the way to delivering pizza to you?
No. I think my pizza's been compromised, and the driver has as well. If you actually compromise my pizza saw.
Yes. All right. I think that's a pretty good place to sort of wrap up Threat Landscape, guys. Thank you very much for being part of it. This was actually pretty cool. I think we had a pretty good show today. Well, I don't know. Do we have time? I'm trying to see if we can sort of, wrap this up if possible. We've been going now for 1.5 hours. I don't know. Jamie, do you still want to go ahead with that, or you're pretty knackered for the night?
Oh, look, I don't mind, but the one thing I would say is, like, if we were going to do some KC7, it was probably going to take like a good half an hour in and of itself, so it might stretch beyond what you're sort of looking for.
I think
we might be all right as long as it's not like another mega nerd night, which is 3 hours plus.
Well,
yeah, sure.
Look, I'm actually aiming to maybe keep it light today. I'm tempted to sort of maybe call it for the day. Look, I want to give those I want to give those online the opportunity to actually contribute to it. So, guys, what do you think? Do you want us to, continue on with KC7 for Jamie to sort of showcase some things there, or would you guys think? Do you think we should have an early night today? Like, I'm careful so we don't go for another 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours stream.
That'd be a good match. So why don't we? Yeah, why don't we do like let's do like a short intro to it, and then we can sort of go from there.
Yeah, well, actually, we can do that. That's totally fine. I can see Internet Stranger is like, yes, KC7, please. Let's go. Anyone else?
So far, the majority of the vote is just Alex.
Internet Stranger is like KC7 with Jamie is a must. I think we should probably just call it a night, just for the sake of it. Jamie, you've had a great you've had a pretty crazy week. So I want to make sure that we don't overwhelm you. Well,
there's
if
that.
you
we'll come back to it in the future.
Yes.
It's obviously you know another learning tool that we can go over.
Yes. So, well, in case you guys are literally just wondering what just happened, well, they say that every great show often has to come to an end. So this is our way of saying that it's been an incredible journey getting to know a little bit more about Jamie. Jamie, dude, you're an absolute legend, mate. I think we should definitely just get a session where, no talking, just full on hacking and defending. I think that would be pretty cool. I think everyone is probably sick of hearing my voice already. But Nathan, thanks so much, mate. You brought the heat as always. If anyone is there and they're wondering what is next week going to look like, we have another awesome guest that we're bringing to you as well. So do not hold back. Make sure that you spread the word. And if you have not already checked out our platform, CyLynk.com, definitely go ahead and check out CyLynk.com, CyLynk.com. And you can actually start our technical learning internship today at Job Ready Tracks. This actually serves as internships that you can use to land a job. So we guarantee a job with our Job Ready Tracks. And you can also start our courses today. So like I said to you guys, we are moving into a subscription-based tier. So which means very soon you're going to be able to sign up for a very small amount of money per month and get access to every single thing. And Jamie is actually building a threat hunting course that it might release to the public or it might release to the community. But let's see. Ooh. Well, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so who knows? And if you're wondering, how do I get ahead? Well, you can actually do certification with CyLynk as well. So check out our platform, CyLynk.com, and sign up to one of the certifications there so you can be part of it. Look, Nathan, do you have any final words?
We should turn James's profile picture into like a shirt, I think.
Fair enough. That's a great way to finish it. Jamie, wait, what do you have anything to say to the community, to the CyLynk crew, Ninja platform?
Definitely just want to say thanks for the opportunity to come on. A lot of fun as always. But yeah, we'll do it again soon. We can definitely do some more KQL related stuff. But yeah, for the time being, we'll see what we can work on, within CyLynk to get more threat hunting knowledge and opportunities there to everyone who's in the platform.
Nah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Look, thanks so much, everyone. If you've been with us all through this journey, we have been going strong for an hour and 28 minutes, 35 seconds. And we are choosing to have an early one today so that we can have more time to plan for something pretty epic next week. Guys, you never know where the next guest might be coming from. So I have a little bit of a cat to let out of the bag. We have a guest who might be joining us from Italy next week. So guys, you know how we roll. If you want to know more about this, obviously show up the same time next week, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Every single Saturday, we are here to support your learning journey. So yeah, do not hold back. And I think that's we've got opportunity for another music as well. Like, why not? So yeah, look, thanks so much everyone for being part of it. This has been pretty fun. So thank you. Enjoy. And with that, love you all. And by the way, do not forget to obviously reach out to our team and then join our Discord server as well, so you can be part of the learning journey continuously. With that, peace.